All right, so what I'm doing today is I'm gonna go ahead and get the transmission, torque tube. I'm gonna get pretty much all the dirty stuff cleaned up today. We gotta start getting things tore apart, start getting things together, nibble through all the little things we can get done. And yeah, we're gonna get this thing built. So let's hop right into it. So as you can see, that thing is pretty filthy. Like, it's just years and years of buildup. Torque tube's pretty nasty. I'm gonna get that cleaned up so we can rebuild that. But my main focus today is I'm gonna get the transmission loose from the diff after we clean it, get this third up on the table and start taking it apart. Let me see if right here. These are the lockouts. You remove your clutches and you install these. These are from ECS. These are like $200. You can't really weld these diffs. So this is what we got for it. It's gonna be a nice solution to locking it out and never having to worry about it, because even though the car done really good drifting, there was times where I could tell that the clutches were slipping. Not with these. So let's get this thing apart. All right, so I taped that off so I don't get water inside the diff. This side's got a little nub, so I just put a glove and some tape on it. Now I'm gonna roll this bad boy outside and get her washed up. All right, so I got the trans and diff on the table. I'm gonna go ahead and bust the diff loose from the trans, get it drained, start taking it apart, get the lockout kit in. All right, so we got the center section out of the diff housing. Now I'm gonna take these 13mm bolts out so we can split the differential to get to the clutches. And we gotta get the center pin out, cross pin out for the spider gears. So that's what we're doing now. All right, so we got our clutches out, our first half. My clutches are kind of pitted and nasty looking. It was still sliding pretty good with them, but locking it out's the way to go. So you can see our lockout kit. This mimics a clutch pack, but this is solid and can't slip. They're the same thickness, I just measured them. So you just drop this in, leave your beveled washer installed. Pretty much it's supposed to just slide right on here. But that's how it installs. And you pretty much just drop it back through there. And that's it. And this allows it to lock into there. And just like that. Now it's locked. So now we gotta do the other side. It's a little more difficult than this side is. So let's get to it. All right, so your bevel washer has your side gear pushing up on your spider gears. So getting your cross pin out, it's not bolted in or anything, it's just a press fit. But pretty much you want to take one of your spider gears, like right there. Like everything's spline, so just save yourself some trouble and put a mark on one of your side gears and this case and try to line it back up with the lockout all in one. That way your spider gears line up dead where they're supposed to be, and everything goes back together pretty easy. So I'm gonna mark that. I'm gonna get the cross pin just pressed out with an air hammer or just a hammer and a chisel, and pop my side gear out and put my lockout. All right, so we got our cross pin and spider gears back in. The mark I made to line it up on isn't exact, but the spider gears were able to turn a little bit. So now it might go right together, might not, but I'm thinking that this side gear is not gonna 100% line up because nothing can turn now, everything's locked. So I'm just gonna try to bolt it up and see what happens. Yeah, see, I can't get everything to line up. So that one's off. It needs to be right there, but it can only drop there. So I need to rotate the lockout a few times on this end of the housing just to see, because this can only go one way. There's lineups. So I'm just gonna rotate this a few times until I get it in the right spot. So I'm gonna turn it one there. It's off. Rotate another one. That's off. Another one. And that's lined pretty much dead up. So I'm gonna try to start a bolt. All right, well, the bolts are starting, so we're good. I'm gonna get these torqued down, get it back together. Well, we're done. Diff's back together, locked out, so we're good to go there. One last thing out of the way. It literally took probably 30 minutes to do, if that. Not a bad job. Had my helper here holding things, so we're all good. But one thing you want to have on hand if your diff's not lock in, or if you feel like your car's doing like a one wheel spin, is that beveled washer, which is pretty much a spring to help hold your clutch pad together. It's usually broke if that's the case. But mine was still working, it was drifting just fine. I just doing this so I have no issues later on down the road. We're gonna put the transmission up on the table. I'm gonna go ahead and put that all back together, get it over in the corner and just out of the way because we're done with that. I'm probably gonna put a good transmission fluid in this thing, like a red line, like a heavy duty shock proof fluid, and put something good in the diff. It don't need anything with limited slip additive anymore because we pretty much got rid of the clutches. So I'll just throw this thing up on here and get it all bolted back together. Guess I'm gonna start with getting the slave cylinder off, getting it out of the way. Listen to this thing. Like, it sounds like it's catching something now. Now it just freed up. So yeah, we definitely have issues in here. I'm not 100% sure if the shaft's supposed to wobble up and down, So I know you got a pilot bearing for a reason, but now it spins free, but it was catching on something. So let's get this slave cylinder off and get started tearing this thing down. Keep that just for reference. So I'm going to put my bolts back here so I don't lose them. I'm going to turn it around, and there's a big snap ring I got to get out of the back. This is a very heavy snap ring. Very dangerous snap ring too. Torque tube over so I can see it. Ooh, that thing is strong. The biggest snap ring pliers I have. Need a step bigger. There we go. That thing is huge. There's a few more there, but I think we're just going to try to just go ahead and just tap this assembly out. Might go ahead and just make a mark. I've been learning to make reference marks just in case. Never hurts. So we'll line this up with that. Just in case it needs to go back to the same exact spot. So I think we'll go to the other end and start tapping everything out. Probably gonna see some rubber come out of this thing. Yep, there's the weevil. That thing is destroyed. I'm gonna get you in closer before I move it. All right, so let's, that bearing seems fine. Look at this thing. This thing is destroyed. Super happy I'm taking this thing apart because this is, you see where it's been rubbing the inner part of the tube. Oh, wow. So there's where our play is coming from. Even though the bearing supports it, you can see a bit of play in that weevil. That's the bearing that's bad. The one I could hear. Man, this thing is toast. Man, this thing stinks. Wow. Smells like a protein bar. So that torque tube is smoked. So I'm glad we took it apart before it destroyed itself when it come up, because it would have come apart. I guarantee if we'd have put a new motor in and just let that ride, it would have been done. So what I was talking about in an earlier video was I've seen these things come apart, and then you'll just have these bolts that are bolted into the shaft. They'll clock themselves where they just hit this, and if it doesn't snap this head off, then you'll have like a bunch of rotational play, and eventually these are going to break off. So I'm glad we're getting, I'm probably going to order a kit from Tick Performance, just get factory GM rubbers and bearings. So now I need to determine whether I have a 12mm shaft or a 10. And what they mean by that is these bolt sizes. Me looking at that, I can tell that's a M12, I mean a M10 bolt. But another way to reference is if you have the earlier year, 2000 is like a split year for this. But if this tube right here is a 55mm shaft versus the 63, I think, for the 12mm. Easiest way to check this, you can kind of put this up here, and you can see it's 9 3/4, but you can drop this down on here, measure this shaft, and this is going to tell you if you have a 55mm shaft, you have the older or earlier version that takes a 10mm shaft bolts. So I wish we had the 63. Not much difference, but it'd be perfect for what we're doing. So that's how you tell which shaft you have. I don't know why they go by shaft. They should just say 10mm bolt or 12mm bolt. But other than that, I got to order the one for the 10 and get this thing rebuilt. So we don't have any parts for it right now. I'm about to start ordering parts for the car so we can get that thing going back together. I'm gonna go ahead and do the ABS delete pretty soon. I got to order that kit. So I guess that's gonna be it for this one. Appreciate you watching. Thank you for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. We're pretty much selling past that, and it's just continuing to grow. I appreciate everybody that watches the videos. I think I'm gonna throw together a little montage video for like 1,000 subscriber special. Car's down, so I can't go do a stupid burnout in it, which we probably would have destroyed some stuff if we would have done that. But hit that subscribe button if you want to. I would appreciate it, and I guess we'll see you in the next one.